Welcome back to RICO Busters, the show that journals the crimes of Michigan state government and corporations operating in this state as continuing financial crimes organizations and together working to circumvent and undermine the Constitution of this state and the United States while operating together as crime syndicates and domestic terrorists. Today's story hits close to home, being one involving the electric company's monopoly on power and the long-standing and seemingly stagnant battle over the viability and or defects associated with the so-called advanced metering infrastructure, AMI, otherwise known as the smart meter.
Basically, you're being blackmailed. You either take it or we cut your power.
Kay Watson is outraged. This Ferndale resident says she paid her bill, but DTE disconnected her service on Sunday.
The guy was here at the door telling me they were going to put in a smart meter, and I said, no. He said, you're refusing? And I said, yeah. He said, we're cutting your power.
Watson says she has a major concern about the smart meters.
Because they're proven to have radiation that's affecting our bodies. We know radiation's not safe.
The smart meter issue is notorious for two reasons. One surrounds the health risk and privacy controversy associated with the installation of smart meters on people's homes. The other surrounds the malicious and controlling schemes used by the power companies to coerce and force the general population into maintaining smart meters on their homes. Here is a letter written just 1 month ago, being 3 weeks before DTE turned off the power at my home. This letter was written by Michigan Senator Pat Kolbeck to one of 3 commissioners of the Michigan Public Service Commission. His letter emphasized that, like in my recent case, there was no impediment to the electric company installing a smart meter on the home. In my case, DTE never even bothered to contact me directly to ask. In his letter, Senator Kolbeck lists fully 10 problems associated with DTE's so-called shutoff program. Some of these reasons, notified to both DTE and the Public Service Commission well before my service was cut, and despite my being fully paid up and never late on my utility payments, include the problem of some shutoff intent letters being sent to people who don't have impediment preventing a switch out. In speculating as to why this is happening, Senator Kolbeck supposes that the shutoff letters are being used despite the Public Service Commission rules, or because DTE employees are simply being lazy, careless, and failing to verify their facts before following up with their threats. Second, Senator Kolbeck points to the problem of these shutoff letters being, like in my case, a form letter with non-factual, or I have alleged, fraudulent statements. In my case, the letter does not inform me of any intent whatsoever, but instead informs me that I must take action after the agents of the electric company have cut off all power and thus all water at my home. As Kolbeck's letter also alleges, others like me are claiming that DTE never made any effort to contact them, while fraudulently claiming that, in my case, that I had refused their contact attempts. Still others assert, according to Kolbeck, that they did make the effort to contact DTE to address the accessibility issue, but that their attempts to contact DTE were ignored or otherwise obstructed by such things as unverifiable and unresponsive voicemails, by wrongful assurances by DTE that in fact no problem exists, or by mixed messages coming from the plethora of different departments of DTE that constitute such high levels of error or disorganization within DTE that it is clear that one hand does not know or care what the other hand is doing at that corrupt racketeering organization. This Michigan senator's letter points out that, in many cases, customers feel that the people they interact with at DTE lie to them, telling them their records show they talked to some person on a particular date and agreeing to something when in fact no such conversation or agreement ever actually occurred. As what happened in my case last week when DTE turned my power off, there was only confusion created after DTE actually replaced their smart meter. In my case, on the day they replaced the meters, and despite that power had been turned off to those meters 3 days prior, DTE agents then maliciously cut the power lines to my home, telling me by phone that day that the power would be on that very night. Of course, that had not happened. When I telephoned back after business hours on a Friday to find out why no power was restored despite the new meters being installed, the DTE rep could only tell me that, quote, they were still working on the pole, unquote, and that they do not work on weekends or in the rain. As Senator Colbeck has reaffirmed, the intent in doing all of this appears to be to punish DTE customers as if they were troublemakers. Thus, DTE repeatedly uses fear and intimidation as blunt instruments against those average Americans who otherwise simply want to live in peace to pursue their own rights to happiness in their own homes. Where fear and intimidation fall short, DTE then is slow at reactivating the power. In my case, such delays of a week were precisely timed with the beginning of winter and the nighttime temperatures being in the teens. This constitutes domestic terrorism by definition.
No squalls, dropping temps, not the ideal time to have no power, but that is exactly where this family is, and they are not budging.
My mom passed away of brain cancer. Okay, so the health issues is a big concern.
And the Michaels can't help but wonder what the smart meter she had on her home had to do with it. One of 3 basic reasons they're not okay with this new type of meter. The second, they worry about the meters being surveillance.
We don't consent to that. Absolutely not. There's no reason to. And we have a meter that's already working.
But 3, the main reason.
The choice. You know, we should have the choice as a citizen to be able to choose between a smart meter or to keep our analog reader.
Right now, their power is out, turned off by DTE. They claim because they won't get the smart meter and haven't been set up for the new digital opt-out meter. They're running a generator in the meantime, which is noisy enough for the neighbors to hear.
It's not bothering us at all, but we can hear it.
And is a tough competitor with the cold. And out here in Lennox, what do you see? The white stuff is now coming down, probably compounding the issue when you have no power.
He didn't even tell us they cut those wires.
This Roseville resident says DTE created a fire hazard at his home when they cut these wires.
They did cut the power wires, as you can see behind me, and they left it in an unsafe manner because they didn't even tape the ends off. Cutting wires and leaving them live next to your house and walking away. I took a stick at 5 o'clock this morning and beat the wires away from the house.
This resident says his name is on the bill and he is unaware of any notifications from DTE.
I haven't personally, I did not. If my wife's seen something, I don't know.
Fitches says he does not have an issue with DTE installing a smart meter. He says his concerns are how they cut the wires.
I don't have an issue with any meter. If I have power, I pay my bills. It's not like I didn't pay my bills.
For now, this resident says he wants one thing.
Hook it back up. And I don't care if they put a meter in. You know, I got 5 people living in a house that is ice cold.
And that's what happened with my family household in the full 7 days after arriving home to find this fraudulent document left duct taped to my front door. I too paid the electric bill faithfully every month, on time and every time for numerous years prior to this domestic terrorist event happening to me. Yet without any proof whatsoever, and having created a fraudulent record of something that never occurred, the agents of the corporate person of DTE of Southeast Michigan falsely accused me of refusing them access to their metering equipment. As I found out a day or two later while on the phone with other DTE agents and representatives, DTE also had created falsified internal records, which they undoubtedly share with the regulating agency of the Michigan Public Service Commission, claiming that I had refused them more than once. This is impossible since such a refusal has to be preceded by obvious previous attempts by DTE to contact me by some viable means, such as in person at my front door or in writing at my known mailing address, where they are known to send all other correspondence, such as bills and their fraudulent marketing propaganda and advertisements. In this case of DTE turning off the power to my home without notice, no DTE agent ever came to my front door beforehand, and no notice was ever provided to me at my known mailing address beforehand either. Here is a high-resolution photo of the last billing statement sent to me by DTE, being for the month of October 2017 and reflecting my full payment for the previous month, and with the next payment due date of November 15, 2017, being 8 full days after DTE had cut off its service to my family household. Go ahead and freeze the frame and check it out, both sides. You'll see that nowhere on this October to November so-called statement is there any referencing statement by DTE telling me that they are trying to reach me for any reason, such as to get access to their meter or to find out if I wish to opt out of their criminal racketeering operation. Note also that while this statement, mailed to me shortly before cutting my power, shows an estimated meter reading, the statement also fraudulently informed me that the next meter reading was scheduled at my home on November 17, 2017, a full 10 days after DTE was to shut off all power to my family. This constitutes felony mail fraud in case anyone is interested. I point to this significance because DTE has been regularly sending meter readers to my home every 1 to 2 months. Because I am at home for most weekdays during the vast majority of each day, when those meter readers came to my door, I happily invited them in, leading them through the main part of my home every time and out the back door to the meters that are in the backyard. Those meter readers knew me by name and engaged me each time in very friendly personal conversations. These friendly, low man on the totem pole agents of DTE never informed me that DTE was trying to reach me for access to the meters that used to be in the back of my home, and they certainly never indicated that my leading them through my home to provide them with such access would be construed in any way as some sort of refusal of such access on my part. Again, this gives reason for me to assert that DTE upper management is engaging in mass fraud and coercion upon the general population and government. Now, if you as the viewing audience think that labeling the acts of DTE as domestic terrorism is extreme, think again and allow me to present you with the facts of the law and the facts of the circumstances. The law, as presented to all of us Americans by Congress, the United States Secretary of State, and the FBI, defines domestic terrorism according to specific criteria. First, the acts occurring within the territorial jurisdiction of the United States, which most definitely includes the corrupt, the illustrious state of Michigan, are acts that are dangerous to human life and are violations of criminal laws of the United States or of any state. This certainly includes the Constitution of the United States, being the supreme law of the land which prohibits bills of attainder by any government or person or corporation that is in bed with the government, such as is the case whereby the corrupt government of Michigan is sanctioning the energy monopoly, being the crime syndicate of the DTE Power Company. Note that what constitutes dangerous to human life was further defined long ago as found in the New York Supplement Volume 143, published in 1914, that references the case of Cochran versus Seth, in which the judge, by the name of O'Brien, specified that dangerous to human life is an act that amounts to a danger that is, quote, so threatening as to constitute an impending danger to persons in the enjoyment of their legitimate rights, unquote. So this most definitely includes the types of dangers that DTE is forcing upon the people of Michigan, such as the thousands of Detroit families that were publicized in 2012 in the Michigan Daily, who had to suffer through the cold because DTE Energy shut off lights and heat to 105,000 customers the previous winter. As the article points out, winters in Michigan are hard, and heat can be the difference between life and death. Which brings us to the next criteria presented to us by our so-called representatives in Congress, being that domestic terrorist acts appear to coerce the civilian population and or the government. I see no coincidence in the fact that just 2 months prior to DTE shutting off all power to my home at a time when the temperatures were dipping into the teens with high winds knocking out power about this time to thousands of other local inhabitants of the Detroit Ann Arbor metropolitan area, that DTE was declaring open warfare upon their own customers, being those that they perceived were holdout resistors in the anti-smart meter movement. Besides what you see on screen before you now is plenty of other proof of such coercion of the populace that was planned and executed against the people over which DTE holds their literal monopoly of power. Moreover, though sparsely located and too often hidden in the government's own records and closed-door hearings, the DTE's pattern and practice of lying to the public also extends to lying to our representatives as public officials. See for yourself.
House Oversight Committee will come to order. There's certainly a lot of interest in people getting on the record with their concerns. We know that there's been bills that have been proposed and haven't been able to move, but the very least we can do is make sure that people who want to address the legislature with their concerns over smart meters should be able to, and that's why I decided to hold this hearing. All right, Bob Sikowskis? Sikowskis, yes. Okay, and Joe McCormick. Okay. And you're with DTE. Appreciate you guys coming. If you wanted to, well, you've been watching the overflow, and you know that we're got people that are concerned about the smart meters, and if you could give us about a 5-minute testimony to just let us know whatever you'd like to let us know about the smart meter program or some of the concerns. I think there might be questions as well.
For your information, we have installed 2.1 million electric meters and modules throughout the territory. It is the whole state. Inside the United States, you'll have 50 million meters installed by the end of 2016. That's covering 43% of the households, so they're across the nation. Over 30 million have been installed in Europe, and essentially Canada's done at this time. We have installed Oakland, Washtenaw, and western Wayne counties. We're in Macomb, Detroit, Downriver counties right now installing the meters right as we continue. On the analogs, I'll tell you this, it's a business decision of DTE Energy, where our old meter age when we start to replace meters was 24 and a half years old. So you look at that age of our meters in that respect. The analogs are not being manufactured today from the major utilities, major vendors. They're not producing analog meters. We've been buying digital meters since before 2007, sir.
What harm is there in just letting people keep their analog meter? What would be the harm in that?
Again, we look at the principle of rate regulations.
I'm sorry.
Again, we look at the principle of rate making. Again, that meter is a choice of ours for business decisions. It does promote technology for us. The meter is, again, average age 24 and a half years old, not being manufactured today.
Good morning and welcome to today's Joint Energy and Research and Technology Subcommittee hearing examining cyber threats to American energy systems.
Good morning, Chairman Weber and members of the committee. I am Bennett Gaines, Senior Vice President, Corporate Services, Chief Information Officer for First Energy.
And no specific recommendations you would make to address that increased risk?
I think good hygiene is important. Good engineering is important, and constant management. These devices are now computers, and so they have to be maintained. They don't have the life of an existing meter, which is 20 to 30 years. These devices have a life of between 5 to 7 years. And so the challenge that the industry has is making sure they maintain their smart grid environment, not neglect it.
Okay. And then you say that it's not manufactured. What happens to those states that have decided to not go forward with smart meters and are going to keep analog? I would imagine they're going to have new construction or they're going to get old. I mean, are you saying that nowhere in the nation these are analog meters are being? And are you familiar that there are states that are allowing people to keep their analog meters or are stopping the installation? I mean, are you familiar with that?
In sense of the analog meters, yes, there are some states that have. I do not know what their particular situation is with respect to their costs and their installation, so I can't answer any further than having the same knowledge you just got about them being there or not there.
Okay, but I mean, somehow the sky hasn't fallen for them. I mean, they're running normally, and it just seems, I mean, it does seem like it's possible. I mean, this is not something you have to do, and as a monopoly, people don't have an option. I mean, are you not supportive of electric choice and allowing people to have 100% choice, I would imagine. So, I mean, you do need to understand we wouldn't really be having this if there was a lot of choice and other companies were available to people to.
Well, again, we have to, as a public utility, provide to each and every customer the most efficient and cost-effective level of service. So I make every effort to reduce cost to help our customers. And this technology does take us a step forward from where we had been in the past.
Okay. Have you turned off any customers' power due to non-compliance with advanced meter opt-out program or because they refused to allow you to install to swap out their analog meter?
No, sir.
Somebody's saying, I don't want you on my property, you're not shutting people off for that. Because they did get letters about a month ago saying that you were likely to, but you have not done that yet?
Very, very correct. They did get letters, and it's within our pretense to do that.
Right.
We're trying to work with every customer as much as we can to accept the AMI meter or the opt-out. However, if the situation prevails, it's going to be a shutoff.
And would you, if this is somebody that's an elderly person, in their 90s and it's 10 degrees below zero, and I mean you would contemplate shutting them off.
So,
but ultimately you might.
If that is the rule, we'd have to follow the rule, yes, sir.
And then I've read articles about Wall Street from the Wall Street Journal and New York Times. I really honestly cannot figure out what you're saying in your testimony is that as far as these smart chips and smart appliances, that there's no communication ever and none contemplated with a smart meter?
I cannot address that whatsoever on the smart chips to an appliance, sir, because I'm not in the manufacturing business of smart chips for appliances.
But I mean, what's your intent? I mean, I would think you're putting these things in. What can they do?
I really don't know what that capacity would be. That's a future item.
No, I just mean the smart meter that you're installing. What is there? Is there an ability to accept information other than just what is going in as a complete load for the household?
We're receiving the whole house power through that meter. So we're not receiving
one number, or is it
one number, sir? It's not per appliance, none whatsoever.
You're saying your testimony is a smart meter has no ability to communicate with and never will, or the current ones that you've installed don't have any.
The way we are installing it, that is correct, sir.
Comment the way we're installing it, but what is the potential capacity for acquiring information from the home? I mean, there's potential for greater information gathering, isn't there?
I imagine in the future technology will take a different approach, and there could be something different, but I have no idea what that is.
Yes, sir. Okay, thank you.
Hey.
We are Onzo. We help energy utilities globally to build better relationships with their customers, serve them more efficiently, and sell to them in a more effective way. How do we do this? We take energy consumption data from smart meters and sensors. We analyze it using our patented algorithms and build a highly personalized profile for each and every utility customer. We then tag this profile with the key behavioral, attitudinal, and lifestyle characteristics that we identify. We even tag the appliances that we see being used in the home. We then use this characterized profile to give the utility 3 things. 1. Customer engagement apps that educate the end customer, build levels of trust, and ultimately reduce customer churn. 2. A detailed description of each end customer that helps the utility to provide more appropriate services and highly targeted sales campaigns. 3. The ability to monetize their customer data by providing a direct link to appropriate third-party organizations based on the customer's identified character. So, from a very thin stream of energy consumption data, Onzo delivers significant business value for as little as the price of a cup of coffee.
The grid, the smart grid that and there's questions about that, but the reason for bursts of activity or signals other than once, the old meter reader used to come by once a month. What would be wrong with just sending a signal once a month? I mean, why does it have to be constant?
No fires have been started by a DTE installed meter.
Smart meter fires. Burning meters, burning questions, shocking answers. The purpose of this video is to give you the truth about smart meter fires. The facts, the real-world situations. Issue number 1, high voltage surges. What are these surges and what causes them? Well, as you can see on the screen, you have lightning strikes, you have down utility poles because of cars, you have trees falling on power lines. Bottom line is these happen, and they happen quite often. What is the result of that? You can see here in Stockton, California, power surges are blowing meters off of people's homes. They're sounding like a bomb going off, like a large pop. This is a common theme, and you're going to hear that and see that as we go along. Same thing in Ontario. Multiple sets of meters being blown off people's homes. Why? Because of these same surges. Now you notice here also in Palo Alto, California, same thing, a common theme. However, what else is a common theme? It's not happening to analog meters. We've talked to meter technicians, we've talked to electricians. They've told us this never seemed to be an issue, but it's now an issue with the smart meters. Is there a reason why? In fact, there is. You'll notice here on the old analog meters, they have what's called a surge arrestor. Surge arrestor helps to take those surges to ground, and it has a nice little backplate on there, which we'll talk a little bit more about. The smart meters, for whatever reason, we're really trying to figure out why they would have taken off this critical safety feature, does not have the surge arrestor on them, as you can see.
So now it's time to show you my story, complete with the recorded conversations I had with DTE agents, where I was reporting myself to be calling under extreme duress, being the victim of fraud, extortion, and other racketeering crimes committed against me by these same agents. See for yourself the manner in which DTE agents refused to help me in any way other than to further extend the crimes of their fellow perpetrators through domestic terrorist threats and further coercion. Be advised of two very important conditions going into this scenario. First, it was only about 6 months prior to this shut-off event that there had been a fire at the top of the telephone pole supporting the electric wires in my neighborhood. This fire was the result of faulty electronic equipment belonging to DTE, and that pole was just about 20 feet away from the home that I have been leasing. In fact, that fire, which started with a loud buzz, began at the area of the transformer near the top of that pole at around 3:30 one morning. By the way, that fire ended up burning the pole completely apart to create a severe fire hazard just yards from the top of my home. My neighbor, who you will hear in some portions of the audio recordings, spoke to its supervisor at the scene of the fire at the time, who revealed that upon forensic evaluation of the faulty part, it was found to have been equipment manufactured in China. Thus, it has long been known by my neighbor and myself that Detroit Thomas Edison, DTE, does indeed purchase cheaper electronic products manufactured in China for use in their so-called smart grid. Second, you should be advised that my leasing contract for this home includes a stipulation by the homeowner, to which I have agreed by that contract, to not make any changes to the interior or exterior structures of the house. In other words, I have no authority whatsoever to authorize changes in metering devices to the landlord's home without the landlord's previous knowledge and consent. Moreover, as homeowner, it is the landlord who assumes all liability for fire and other damage to his home, not me. As will be factually shown in this RICO Busters report, though DTE and other power companies are placing these highly controversial meters on homes across the country, indeed around the world, the power company's liability ends with the meter.
They own the meter, and that's it. Everything else is the responsibility of the homeowner.
That was surprising information to hear for one Ontario homeowner after coming home to find this.
Saw the meters fully engulfed in flames when I came in.
Well, luckily, Kevin got home just in time and was able to put out the fire. This is all that remains of the box now, and this right here is the meter that was attached that he thinks may have caused the fire.
So everything that I have inside the house out until this point is working fine. There was nothing other than where the meter is.
His concerns come from the recall of more than 5,000 smart meters in Ontario in 2015 by the Electrical Safety Authority after several fires in Saskatchewan were thought to have been caused by a specific model of meter. Several videos of similar fire situations can be found online, but Hydro One says they have never installed that model and that smart meters are safe. But after making calls to have all of this repaired, what really shocked Kevin was the bill associated with this. $5,000, all his responsibility.
I was under the understanding that because we're a Hydro One customer, that anything that has to do with electrical, other than the panel inside, is responsible for, they're responsible for it, not us.
Unfortunately not. Hydro is only responsible for the line coming in and the meter that is attached to the box.
You have to realize that the homeowner owns all of this equipment, the piping, the conduit system, this box, the piping that goes through the roof in this case, or that's on the outside of the house. That's all the responsibility of the homeowner.
What does Hydro own?
The utility company, Hydro One, Toronto Hydro, owns this.
That can leave homeowners frustrated. Kevin wonders why a new meter was ever installed on old equipment, in his case nearly 60 years old.
The homeowner should be advised to say whether we have to upgrade the system, or there should be some sort of notification as to what our involvement is as a homeowner.
and all damage caused by defects from these meters are legally the responsibility of the homeowners, given that these meters interact with the older wiring systems of the homes. This brings emphasis again to the fact that if I authorize such a device upon the landlord's home, with or without his knowledge, the liability for any fire or other damage to the home is on my shoulders. As we shall see in real telephone conversations with DTE agents, the corporate persona known as DTE really could care less about these legal facts, because all its agents and representatives care about is their own agenda of coercing a population of concerned people through forced terrorist tactics upon me and others in my Southeast Michigan community.
All right. Today's date is November 8th, 2017. It is 8:33 in the morning. I'm calling Jerry Lavitz of DTE. He is the manager. Phone number is 313-235-0636. I'm just going to leave my name and my number if I don't get a recording.
DTE Energy, this is Ms. Burritt.
Hi, Ms. Burritt. Yes, this is it Beverly or Barbara? I forgot. I think it's Barbara.
No, it's Beverly.
Oh, Beverly. Okay. Yes, my name's David Scheid. I was trying to reach Jerry Levitz or Lavitz. Is he around? If not, I know I can talk with you because I've spoken with you before.
Who are you trying to reach?
Jerry Lavitz. I thought that he was the supervisor. I know you're the supervisor of Customer Contract Center, or at least were.
Yes. I'm not sure who Jerry is.
Okay. Well, then maybe if you don't mind, I'd like to remind you that back in I think it was April of 2014. We had an agreement to replace in Novi, Michigan, a rotary dial meter with another meter, which you and I had agreed to according to my notes anyway. You and I had agreed to be a non-smart meter, and then that was back in December of 2013, and then in April of 2014. I was dealing with you again on the fact that despite our agreement, somebody had come to my door and was demanding access so they could change the meter out. And so that's when Jerry Lavitz got involved, and he spoke with you, and I hadn't heard anything about anything since then until just last night. I had all my power turned off with a fraudulent notice stating that I've been refusing access to your metering equipment, and I'm calling right now under duress and as a result of fraud and extortion to deal with this matter, and I need to deal with it expeditiously because I had to shower at my neighbor's home this morning. I have no water pressure because I have well water, and it's electronically pumped from the ground, and so I can't shower. I can't. I have a dog to water at home. I'm peeing in the backyard, and you know I'm under duress right now.
Okay. Well, the first thing, sir, is I don't remember speaking with you back in 2013 or 14.
I'll give you time to look at your notes if you like to find the notes, because I had to go through with a flashlight into my DTE records, and I pulled up all of our notes from our conversation, so I'd be happy to refresh your memory in any way I can to help you.
Well, what I'm going to say at this time, sir, is I cannot understand why I would ever tell you that we would not replace your meter with a smart meter. That has has never been an option.
Well, it was an agreement that we made, and I did remind both of you at that time in 2014. Now, as I can see that you are using these types of fraud, basically putting a note on my door saying that I've been refusing anything, when I've been checking I checked last night my previous DTE records. I have been picking up my mail at the post office on a regular basis. There has been nothing in writing, and I will be soliciting from you documents, names, phone numbers. I have let people into my home and through my home to go check the meter that is there and to document what numbers are on it, and very kindly have let them through the house anytime they've come to the door. And not once has any of your representatives said that there's been an attempt to contact me. I have received nothing at my post office box, which is my formal mailing address that DTE sends all the bills. There's nothing in writing on any of the bills. Of course, I have no phone calls. So this thing that what has happened to me has happened under fraud, and it constitutes a crime. And so if you're engaged in criminal activity at this moment in time, and I can prove it, then it certainly makes a lot of sense to me that you would somehow forget what you promised me in 2014. But right now, my immediate need is to get this power turned on as soon as possible, and even sooner.
Okay, at this point, sir, there's nothing that I can do to assist you with that situation. That is done in a whole new group. I am unable to do anything with that. However, if you give me your account number, and let me pull up your account and see who I can refer you to.
Well, I will give you your account number because I don't have an account that I have, that this appears to be your account number, and so let me just clarify that first and foremost. This number was not any number that I came up with. I did not copyright it. I did not register it. This account number appears on all the monthly statements that you issue. You are working for DTE, is that correct? I just want to make sure I'm not calling. Huh?
What is the account number?
Are you working for DTE still?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay.
May I have the account number, please?
Okay, the account number, which is your account number, is 511-622-00014. And I have been paying my bills every single month. I've been paying them way before they're due. And I take insult to this. Again, I am calling under duress, and I'm not providing any permission to do anything, but I am being forced to do so by strong-arm tactics that are criminal tactics, and I will be forced to allow you to come through my backyard and through the gate to replace that with one of your very questionable smart meters.
What is your address, sir?
The address where I am leasing a home is at 12 Mile Road. Some people call it West 12 Mile Road. I don't even know what the name of the street is, actually. That's why I have a post office box for where I get all of my mail. I do have evidence that the United States Postal Service has been delivering my neighbor's mail to the box that is across the street from the home that I'm leasing. And so and I have no idea if there's been anything going to that mailbox, whether or not it has gone elsewhere, but I do have proof that the U.S. Postal Service is not providing me with that with proper service at that email at that mailing address. So that I believe it is 12 Mile Road. Sometimes it's spelled with a TWELVE. Sometimes it's the number 12. That is in the city of Novi. That's N-O-V-I, and the zip code is 4873.
No, 48377.
48377.
Okay. Let me place you on hold. Let me see who I can get to for you to reach out to. Do you mind holding for a moment?
Well, I'm making record of the fact that I'm reaching out at you because these notices that was on my door along with the shut off was not signed. It says sincerely, and then there's a big space for a signature, and then somebody DTE comes under that. So I can take it that any agent that leaves this is leaving it on behalf of the entire organization. And if I call on the phone and I speak with you as an agent of DTE, that I am speaking with DTE, and I need to speak to no other person whatsoever.
Okay. Unfortunately, sir, with this situation, I cannot assist you.
Well, I'm making record of that. I'm making record of that. And damages are being incurred and measured at this moment.
That's fine, sir. If you could just bear with me for a moment, let me reach out to see who you can speak with, okay?
That's not okay, but I'm under duress and being forced into this situation.
Okay. Hold on just a moment, please. Thank you.
Well, she didn't count on this today when she got up.
Hi, Mr. Schneid?
Yes.
Okay, I found the number that you have to reach out to.
You're not going to assist me in that?
No.
I cannot assist you with this, sir. You have to call this group.
A group? Is this a third party?
No, it's one of our own.
This is DTE that you are giving me a contact information for?
Yes.
Okay, group. What's the name of the group?
It's Energy Resolution.
And why is it that you are not assisting me in this matter?
Because I don't work in that group, sir, and I cannot assist you with that.
And what's that number?
The number is 1-800-441-6698.
And you will not dial that number and have a conference call with me?
I cannot do that, sir. I don't have that ability.
Well, I do, if you want to stay on the line.
That's fine.
All right, stand by.
Thank you for calling DTE Energy, your revenue management and protection department. For training purposes, your call may be monitored or recorded. In order to better serve your need, please listen carefully.
Beverly, are you there?
Report identity theft.
Yes, I am.
Thank you.
1-800-477-4747. Again, that number is 1-800-477-4747. To report energy theft, please press 1 for further instructions. If you're calling regarding an AMI locking device or refused access letter, please press 2 for the next representative. To repeat this message, please press 3.
Did you press 2, sir?
No, but I'm inspecting the letter that I do not see anything that
I understand,
labeled.
but you have to press number 2, sir.
Okay, so you say I have to press 2. Okay, stand by.
To help us improve your customer experience, you may receive a call to participate in a short survey redundant survey.
I'm not hearing a word that thing is saying. I've got my volume up all the way.
We're sorry, our customer representatives are still busy. The call will be answered as soon as a representative is available.
Beverly?
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed another little note that I have here with a former, if maybe it's still good, email address for you, Buritz, Buritz, B at DTEenergy.com. When I get my power turned back on, if and when I get my power turned back on, I will be looking up that email address and the last any correspondence. I'll be printing that out, and I'll be providing it to authorities.
That's fine, sir. We're sorry, our customer representatives are still busy. Your call will be answered as soon as a representative is available.
It's interesting that you don't remember this person by the name of Jerry Lavitz, who I thought was something of a supervisor or an executive at your company in Detroit. And I happened to call that number last night when I had a full charge on my phone, or at least more charge on my phone, and that number that I had for him is still good. But I was not able to reach him. Pardon me?
What number is that?
It was, let's see here. It was 313-235-8111.
We're sorry, our customer representatives are still busy. Your call will be answered as soon as a representative is available.
Did you get that?
235-8114?
No, 8111.
8111. Okay.
Right.
Hold on just a moment. I'm going to try and see who that is. Hold on.
Okay. Now I got two people putting me on hold with music. And now, when one comes back, he's not going to know that I'm there. Maybe, I don't know. The merry-go-round begins.
Sir?
Yes.
That person is no longer with. He may have retired.
Okay.
So that phone number was given to another employee.
Okay. Sounded okay. All right.
We're sorry, our customer representatives are still busy. Your call will be answered as soon as a representative is available.
Oh, I didn't
You're going to have to wait to speak with the energy resolution team.
I'm
So
sorry.
you've got them on the line. You should be able to get to them shortly.
Well, I should have been given proper notice, and a lot of shoulds here dealing with your company that I'm registering as being strong arm criminal tactics. And
at this time, sir, I can't do anything to assist you. It's completely out of my hands.
I'd like for you to stay with me to as my witness
Sir,
for.
I cannot do that at this time. If the energy resolution team needs any information from me, they can reach out to me. You can feel free to give them your number, or to give them my number.
Well, I'm
They can
free to
reach
do
out
anything. There's that's the thing. That's what's supposed to be good about America is we are free. I don't accept your limitations. I don't accept DTE telling me what I have the right to
Sorry,
do.
our customer representatives are still busy.
I know I'm
Your
free.
call will be answered as soon as a representative is available. I'm going to go ahead and let this call go. Please just wait on the line for the energy resolution group. They will be able to assist you 100%.
You do not have my consent to do.
Out of my hands.
You do not have my consent to do the things that you are doing, and you do not have my consent to leaving this phone call.
That is beyond my control. There's nothing that I can do to assist you with that.
If you hang up the phone, that is within your control. If you disconnect yourself from this call, that is within your control.
Okay, hold on one moment, please.
answered as soon as a representative is available. Sir?
Yes.
Bear with me another moment. We're trying to reach out to see if we can find somebody that can get a hold of you right away.
Thank you.
Okay, hold on, please. Right, Mr. Schneid?
Yes.
Why don't you go ahead and release that? I have another number that I'm going to try and internally transfer you to.
Okay, if I end the last call, I will end up hanging up from you as well, so I can't...
Okay, well, call me right back. I'm right here at my desk. I'll pick up the phone.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Bye-bye.
Okay, now, what is her number again?
Probably going to send you right to the attorneys.
Okay, I'm making a second phone call to Beverly Burritt. I just hung up from her at her request. This is call number 2 at on the same date of November 8th. At the time now is 9:04. I'm dialing 313-235-0636.
Mr. Schneid?
Yes, this is David Scheid.
Okay, hold on just a moment. Let me see if I can get through to somebody for you, okay?
Thank you.
All right, hold on.
She'll probably never remember this either.
Everything you're saying is being recorded.
Mm-hmm.
So just know that, okay? And she's sending you to somebody that... See what I mean? See how quiet it got? And all of a sudden the music's...
Mr. Schneid?
This is David Scheid. There's no N in my name.
Pardon me?
There's no N in my name. It's David Scheid.
Scheid, I'm sorry. I have a representative from that group that can assist you.
And the representative's name?
My name is Leslie.
Leslie? Could I get a last name or employee identification number, please?
I don't give either. My name is Leslie. I'm the only Leslie in this department.
And what city are you in?
I'm at DTE Energy.
Detroit?
That covers all of the state, doesn't it? Maybe even outside?
No, not outside the state of Michigan.
Okay, so what city are you located in?
Mr. Scheid, what is it that I can help you with today?
Are you refusing to identify yourself?
I told you that I was Leslie.
And
this is DTE Energy. This department is Energy Resolution. If you need a telephone number, I can give you that.
Okay, go ahead. If it's 800-441-6698, I've been on hold for a half hour on that number and nobody answered.
Okay. That is the number to this department, and we do have a high call volume.
All right. Is Beverly still on the line, Beverly Burwitz?
I am, sir, but I'm going to go ahead and release the call. Thank you.
All right. It looks like she did. Did she explain to you the situation, Leslie?
Okay, so you had an AMI meter, or you refused an AMI meter at your property?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm not familiar with your industry terminology. I don't know what AMI stands for. I have been not refusing to do anything except to relinquish any of my rights. I retain all of my rights throughout my time. So if there's anything I'm refusing, it's only to relinquish any of my rights.
Okay, and you're at 12 Mile in Novi?
No, actually, I'm having to be at the next door neighbor's home because I have no power, I have no water, I'm under duress and a victim of a crime, and so I am with a trusted friend.
So the location where you have no power is at West 12 Mile in Novi?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Just one moment, please.
Can you tell me what I'm waiting for?
I'm looking at the notes on the system.
Since you're looking at those notes, I do want to let you know what I had spoken with Beverly about is that I will be submitting interrogatories to you, and I will name you directly as well as Beverly. And I will want to have copies of all of those notes in their system. I will want to have all contacts that were purportedly made or attempted to be made at by mail, by phone, by personal appearance on that property, and any documentation that you have that substantiates your claim that I have been refusing anything.
Okay, so it looks like the services here were disconnected on yesterday.
Could you tell me the time? Because I was home all day yesterday until about 3 o'clock.
Okay, so the service was disconnected upon refusal of our meter to switch out the meter at the location.
There was no refusal. There was no appearance. There was no person that I spoke with that knocked on my door or attempted to contact me all day long until I left at 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon.
Okay, so
I am rebutting.
In order to get your services restored here, we would need to know if you would like to have the AMI meter with the radio on or the radio off.
I have no idea what an AMI meter is, and I don't have the technology background to ascertain what it is that you are saying, much less to make any decision about it. What I do have to say is that I am a leasee in this home. I've been a leasee for quite a long time, and that I do have a landlord. That any changes to the property or anything on the home that should have gone through the landlord. And so that is I don't want to jeopardize my living situation by authorizing anybody to make any changes to anything that's on this house. I have a contract with my landlord not to change anything that's on the house, and so by contract I cannot agree to doing anything that you are trying to coerce me into doing using criminal strategies of fraud and extortion, and I am currently under duress, having been a victim of a crime at this time.
So if you're not at liberty to give me permission to place an order for a radio on or off meter, then you need to have the landlord or owner to contact us here.
You need to contact that landlord or owner. I do not need to do that. Meters. You had a contract somehow with the landlord prior to my moving into this home. The landlord I need the power on. I have no way of having water access. I've got food that's already been destroyed in the for lack of power to power the refrigerators. I'm getting sick. You turn this thing off without any foregoing notice or anything to me. You've been doing it under fraud by this notice here saying that I refused anything. You reiterated that fraud over the phone here by claim that your notes say that some person, I'd like to know the name of the person that gave you those notes right now, please.
Any information in regards to note on the account can be obtained through a subpoena from the court.
Subpoena from the court. So you're saying that this does need to be a court action in order to get any information from you. Is that correct?
That is not what I said. I said any information in regards to orders on this account needs to be subpoenaed through the court. If you choose to go and get a lawyer to have that done, that is your choice.
Who said that I would go through a lawyer? It's always my choice. This is a free society. This is America.
And Mr. Scheid, unfortunately, I'm not going to have this conversation with you if you are not able to let me know if you need a radio on or radio off, that is a transmitting or non-transmitting meter put onto your home to get your service restored. Then there's no other conversation that we need to have.
Well, there is a conversation that we need to have because I was getting along fine with.
They are the ones who are authorized to have the meter changed at the location.
What's that? What'd you say?
Get a manager.
I want a manager.
Okay. Give me a phone number and I'll have one call you.
I need a manager now because right now I'm under duress. I'm under duress, and I'm a victim of a crime.
That states that you give a phone number, or I obtain a phone number from you to have someone to contact you back.
You will not tell me when that person is contacting me back, and right now I have evidence of fraud by your group.
You never asked me when they would call you back.
When are they calling me back?
Within 24 to 48 hours.
I can't have that happen. I need the power turned on now.
Well, no, you can't tell me which meter you want, so that you'll need to have the landlord or owner to contact.
I can tell you what meter I want. I want to have the meter that has been working fine since I made an agreement with Beverly.
You will need to choose either the transmitting or non-transmitting meter.
I cannot choose except under duress. I will choose under duress as a result of being a victim of a crime, and I will choose whatever it is that it will get my power turned on now. I want my power turned on now. I must have my power turned on now. I need my power turned on now. I am a victim of a crime, and I'm under duress as I make this order.
Turned on now. I've heard you say that several times.
I want it on now.
Service turned on now. You have a radio on meter, which is free of charge. You have a radio off meter, non-transmitting, which is a $67.20 one-time charge. And it's $9.80 monthly to opt out of that program.
I am not agreeing to any such agreements except under duress, and I want the power turned on now. You can do whatever it is that you desire because you are using force and coercion to engage in this conversation to begin with, and so you do whatever it is you need to do. I will not be agreeing to pay any more money.
As far as having this meter replaced.
I did not catch anything that you said. I did not catch anything that you said. You will have to start all over again because I was talking when you started interrupting.
You're out talking and over talking me.
I will not be agreeing to pay anything. I'm under duress. So if you want to put a meter on this house that does not belong to me and jeopardize my living situation even more than you already have right now through coercion and crimes and fraud, then I know that you're going to go ahead and do that anyway. And so I want you to get it over with so I can get my power back on for the time being.
Would you like a non-transmitting or transmitting meter?
I don't want either one. I want the one. You're asking me what I want. I'm honestly telling you what it is that I want. I want the same meter that I've got. I'm also telling you truthfully that I will not pay for any opt-out option. And I'm telling you truthfully that I do not have the authority to place anything or to change anything or to contract with anybody to do anything on that house. But I am inviting you and telling you I need that power on now.
So would you like the opt-in or the opt-out meter?
I refuse to say.
Okay, so then your power remains as it is. Is there anything else that I could help you with
Call the
today?
who?
Tell her to call the owner.
I want you to call the owner.
That is not what we do.
What do you mean it's not what you do? It's the owner of the
You want
house.
permission. That's
You
what
want permission. You want to know. You want to use the word want and like. Hello? I didn't hear what you said.
I said you need to contact the owner to have them contact us here to get the meter changed on the property.
No, I do not. What I need to do is deal with you. I have a contract with you I have honored. My contract with you is to pay the electricity bill. I have been paying that early, every month. Prompt. I have not been late. I have you proved to me that you've done anything to let me know that this coercion was going to happen. You prove it. You've got a claim here that says that I refused anything. I have not refused anything, and I challenge you to provide me with any records of anybody that's been to my home in the last 3 months or has attempted to contact me or has any mailings gone to my post office box mailing address. These are all the ways that have been able to be where I can be reached, and I am telling you.
You sent me bills to that month.
Right. I even have the last month's bill. There is nothing on that last month's bill that indicates an effort to contact me. You are engaged in a criminal racketeering operation, and I will be filing a crime report. You are participating in a crime, Leslie. I want my power turned back on. This is not just a civil matter.
Would you like the transmitting or the non-transmitting?
I'm telling you, I don't like either one, but I am not paying I'm not paying any opt-out fee. So you go ahead and do whatever you want, and I invite you to contact the owner of the home if you want to know likes and wants.
So then the radio on meter is the meter that is without a fee.
That's what you say.
That's what I explained to you.
I need my power turned on now. It was freezing. I took a picture on my phone of the temperature. It was below freezing last night. I'm over 60 years old, and you are committing crimes against me. You're discriminating against me, and you're treating me as a person without a low income that has been paying my bills every month as somebody who is less than a person, less than a human being. And I despise that. And you're using fraud and committing crimes to do it.
So you're letting me know that you want me to enter an order for a radio on meter. You
can interpret it any way you want. I want my power back on.
and I refuse to pay an opt-out fee.
You're saying you don't want to pay a fee. The meter without the fee is the radio on meter. Is that what you would like to have placed there?
I'm telling you I will not pay. I'm not telling you what I would like other than to be left alone and to be operating in peace. See, you are interrupting me, lady. You are interrupting me when I'm talking.
To discuss, Mr. Shy.
Then yes, there is, because I still don't have power.
Meter, and you're going off into other areas.
That's not your decision to make.
It's not my decision to make. I want a meter. I want power back on in the home that I'm renting.
So I advise you to have the owner to contact us.
You
if
need
you're not able
no.
to make
You need to contact the owner. This is your operation. This is your racketeering and corrupt organization operation.
Okay.
I've been paying my bills. I have been minding my business. I have been living in peace, and I have been paying, obeying, and abiding by the contract that I have with your corrupt organization. Now, I want to know when my power is going to be turned back on.
Your power will be restored once you make a decision as to which meter you'd like to have installed at the property.
I'm not doing it with a gun at my head.
I'm doing this with a gun at my head. This is under duress, and I'm being coerced through criminal tactics. So if you want to hear the words I like to have a smart meter, an AMI with the radio on, then I will say that right now, and that is the end of it. I want to know when my power is going to be turned on.
Okay, and what's a good contact telephone number for you?
Why do you want to know?
We need that in order to place the order.
You're saying now that if I don't have a phone, that you will not turn this power back on?
What I stated was I would need a contact telephone number.
I will give you a contact telephone number of the person at DTE who just put me in touch with you. Her name is Beverly Burritts.
I need a phone number.
No, I will give you her phone number as well. All right, Beverly Burritts. Hold on. Her BURITZ. Her phone number is 313-235-0636. I want to know when my power is going to be turned back on.
Okay. Hold on for me one moment while I place the order.
You can't make that decision.
That's right.
No, you just need, they know who owns the house. You have an original owner to that house, and they need to contact him. You cannot make that decision for him. You make that decision, it will affect.
I've already told her my lease agreement, yeah.
No, they're getting you with their corruption into violating his rights now. Just for the sake of your power. They got that over your head.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not going to be a reasonable amount. If anything happens and that thing catches fire and that house burns down, you're liable. You made the decision. And that's what they'll say.
Yep.
You have nothing to do with any of this except that your power was cut off.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I told her that she can interpret it any way she wants, but I was not going to say like or want.
Well, you already agreed for them to turn that on.
I told them
based on those two decisions. She worded it that way.
Well, and I'll clarify that if that's what you heard, that's not what I heard, but I will change that. I will clarify that.
Well, make sure if anything goes wrong with that meter and the house catches fire, that they're responsible. And if she can't give that, then you shouldn't even be talking to her. You should be asking for a manager.
Right. Who won't call for another day or two.
Well, that's the point of them squeezing.
Right.
So you can incur by going to a hotel all the expenses on them. If you wanted to pursue that.
Right.
But again, we don't know how long that will take to get back to you either.
Correct. And in the corrupt Michigan court system.
Right.
Could
Oh,
go
I'm
decades.
So I'm just telling you, if anything happens to that house and you gave them permission and they can pull this conversation up, he can actually go after you and say no, because they're not going to take any responsibility.
Right.
But except for to put her to squeeze you because your power's now off. Just to shut the power off. He'll agree to anything. And that this isn't the thing. You should be making decisions for him. And that lawyer, which is his wife, knows that.
All right, I'm beginning call number 3 on the same day. I've been on hold for about 30 minutes, so I'm going to start a new recording. This is November 8th. It is now 9:45. I'm 40 minutes and 36 seconds into the same call as call number 2 with Leslie, who has put me on hold without really telling me why. And so I'm now beginning a new recording. This phone number, I don't know Leslie's number other than 1-800-441-6698, but that is supposedly the number that I'm on hold right now, being transferred to her from Beverly Burtz from 313-235-0636.
Okay, thank you for holding.
Yes, I wanted to provide for you the phone number to the owner of the house, whose name is, and his phone number is 248. I want to reiterate that I have a disclaimer here that I understand that the meter that you are referring to as an AMI meter that is a fire hazard, has caused fires in other homes, and that this home does not belong to me, and I will not take responsibility or liability in the placement of such an item on my home. I have a separate contract with DTE for service, under which I have been operating faithfully, in good faith, in paying my bills promptly, on time, and in full each month. And that being said, I strongly suggest that you contact the owner himself for any wants or likes or anything like that desirable to this home.
Okay, so your order has been replaced for the radio on meter there. That order will have your service reconnected within 3 to 4 business days.
And what's the order number?
There is no order number. You would use the address.
You have no order number. You're claiming that there is an order, but there is no order number. 3 or 4 business days. Okay, so am I going to get a phone call for an appointment to come to the home? I don't leave gates unlocked. I'm not going to be coerced into unsecuring the home that I'm at. In fact, I might not even be able to be in the home at all because I'm expecting freezing
temperatures, and the home has no running water, and there is no ability to live in this home. I am incurring damages on a daily basis, for which I am itemizing and will be filing claims against DTE and you for these types of delays.
So in regards to a phone call, to jog your memory, you did give us a phone number for Beverly Berwitz.
That's correct.
I don't have a contact number for you, so no one will be contacting you. If you're late, your gate is locked, and you have a dog in the yard, that will delay the service being restored.
Well, I do suggest that you, number one, contact the owner of this home for his permission to do this. And number two, that if you have no phone number for me, which you did not before, then why is it that you can claim fraudulently that you have been attempting that I have been refusing anything? If you don't make it, if you don't have a phone number and you do not make contact, then how is it that you can claim to have made contact and obtained my refusal when you never had my phone number to begin with?
You don't need a phone number for a contact.
Oh, well then fine. Then contact me, and let me know when that you expect to be coming in to the property, so that I can assure that there will be access to the meter you claim I'm refusing to give you access to.
So, Mr. Scheid, these antics are going to result in a delay in your services being restored.
You're calling these an antic?
Listen to me. I am speaking. Don't speak over me. Thank you. You are causing a delay for your services to be restored if you do not provide a contact telephone number for yourself. Otherwise, we have no problem with contacting Beverly Berwitz on the account, but that will not gain us access to your property.
Well, you are the one that's creating the delay, and for you to call what I am doing antics is completely offensive. It adds to the offenses that other agents of your company, your corrupt organization, has been committing in crimes upon my household.
So would you like to provide a contact telephone number?
What I want is to know when the power is going to be on and what time those people are going to be there so that I can be there. I am not refusing anything except to retain all of my rights, and I have the right to privacy.
So if we are granted access to the property, it will be restored within 3 to 4 days.
Then you are causing the delay, not me.
Okay. Was there anything else I can help you with, Mr. Scheid?
Yes, getting my power turned on today, right now.
Okay. I've already explained to you that will not happen. Is there anything else that I can help you with today?
Yes, you can call the owner of the home and secure the permission, because I have no liability. I've already given you my disclaimer. I am not giving permissions for anything to change anything on that home.
Okay, I will not be contacting the owner of the home. That's something between yourself and the owner.
That's something between yourself and the owner.
So if there isn't anything else that I can help you with today, please enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you for calling DTE Energy.
Leslie, are you still on the line? Leslie, are you still on the line? If you're still on the line, I would like the phone number of your legal department for DTE. Leslie, are you still on the line? I do not hear that I am on hold. There is no music in the background, as there has been throughout this call this morning, for the last hour and a half. And I will say it 3 more times before I hang up, understanding that Leslie has hung up, being in the energy resolution group of DTE. Leslie, are you still on the line? If not, I have something to request from you, being the phone number of the law of the legal of DTE. Leslie, are you still on the line? That's twice, going 3 times, and then I will hang up. Leslie, are you on the line? I am hanging up. Leslie is hung up.
Please listen carefully. Report identity theft. Please hang up.
This is DTE.
7.
I'm calling on the 9th, Friday, November 10th, 9:36 a.m. I've dialed 800-441-6698.
If you're calling regarding an AMI locking device or refused access letter, please press 2 for the next representative. To repeat
She
this
said don't
message,
touch
please press
anything.
3.
Just
Otherwise,
let it go
please hold
now.
for the next
Don't pick up
available
the
customer
phone.
representative.
Yeah, well, just turn it up so you can hear.
That is up.
Is that enough?
Good morning, DTE Energy Resolution. Stewart speaking. How can I assist you?
Yeah, did you say your name was Stewart?
Yes.
Yes. I wanted to find out what the estimated time is that I would get the power turned back on. I understand that I'm in a queue of some kind, but I just wanted to see what the update is because nobody's made contact with me.
What's the address you're calling in regards to?
12 Mile Road, Novi, Michigan, 48377. And you said Stewart is your name, right? Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello, I can barely hear you. What were you asking?
Yes, I was asking if you said your name was Stewart?
Yes.
Okay, and do you have an employee number by any chance?
No, I don't give out an employee number over the phone.
Okay, last name or anything?
Yes.
And what's your last name?
Stewart, Mr. Stewart.
Oh, you're Mr. Stewart. Okay.
Right, I just don't go with the formalities.
Okay, well, yeah, this whole process of me having to go through all of this seems to be a formality to me, but if you can give me, do you have anything that you can give me as far as an update?
Okay. Is this like West 12 Mile or East 12 Mile or what's the...
I think it's probably West 12 Mile.
West 12 Mile.
Mm-hmm. And what department are you in?
I'm in the Energy Resolution Department. The theft
Okay.
Department.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm showing. Look like they did upgrade your meter already.
They what?
So therefore they did refer that to the overhead lines crew to get the service restored. I'm showing that the appointment date is today. Don't have an exact time span for you for when they're coming out.
Okay, so that is today then. All right, thank you.
But I show the appointment date is, yes.
All right. I appreciate that information. Anything else that you can give me?
That's pretty much it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for calling DTE Energy.
No comment. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
End of call at 10:11 a.m. on the Friday the 10th, 10:12 a.m. This is Friday, November 10th at 4:57 p.m. I have DTE on the line here. This was the emergency number for calling to about a power outage, and I gave them my address, a woman, and I ran next door to record this call because it was unexpected that I was going to get a human being. So I've been on hold now for about 5 minutes. 4:58 now, p.m.
Okay, thank you so much for holding the line. So
Yeah.
I was checking because it's not giving me a restoration time right now because they're still working on the pole from what I'm seeing. So we don't have a restoration time at this moment.
Well, and who is this again?
You said, who is this? This is DTE Energy, customer care.
Oh, customer care. Okay, and do you have a name?
Michelle?
Michelle. Okay, and are you in Detroit?
Yes, I'm in downtown Detroit at the headquarters.
Okay. Now, I was told that there's nothing to do with a pole. I thought this would be just a switch that somebody has to turn on.
No, I'm showing that they were doing work on the lines on the pole, and I just talked to field dispatch. That's what took me so long. It's showing work is being done on the poles, not a switch, and we don't have switches here. We send signals for meters, but this is showing that they were working on the pole.
Now, and this is at West 12
Monroe.
Novi.
Yes, zip code 48377-2425.
Yeah, I don't know the last four, 48377, but this is something that's been out for the last 3 days under the fraudulent claim by DTE that I refuse to allow them access to change a smart meter onto my this house that I'm leasing. And I did confirm that the meters have been changed out. I was told today with a friend of mine listening in on the conversation as the witness that the mechanical devices had already been switched out, which appears to be true. And
right, I do see that. But I also see, I also have to go off what I see. I do see like you had the issues with the AMI meters and everything like that, and they were switched out. But I also see that it was work done on the pole, which is another reason as to why the service is not on at the time. And I just talked to our field rep dispatch center, and they're saying the same thing. It has nothing to do with the meter at this point.
All right, but you do have it scheduled still for today to be turned on?
Yes, you still have it scheduled for today.
And we just don't have a time.
No, we do not have a time at the time.
Now, you are aware that it's last night it got down to 18 degrees, and this tonight it's supposed to probably even be getting colder. You understand that, correct?
Sir, I definitely understand. I am a resident of Michigan myself, and I actually live off the water, so it gets even colder where I'm at in Detroit because I live right off the water. So I definitely understand that.
Okay. Well, a lot of your people at DTE, and maybe you're one of the kinder folks, but a lot of there seems to be a pretty callous attitude towards somebody like myself who's over 60 that has informed your people that I never got any kind of even request to access my property, much less refuse, as your paperwork is fraudulently declaring and creating a fraudulent record of. And I surely hope that you can deal with the people internally with the type of corruption and what amounts to racketeering and crimes against people like myself. I've reported myself to be authorizing access to my home under duress and having been a victim of a crime. And I surely hope that people's conscience there at DTE gets to them and that they understand that they're working for a crime syndicate. I do thank you for your time, ma'am, Michelle. And
You're welcome.
okay, bye now.
Thank you for calling DTE Energy.
All right, this call ends 5:03 p.m. Friday, November 10th.
Power outage.
Okay.
1-800.
I'm calling customer service or power outage from my phone bill. 800-477-4747.
And it is 7/12.
Yeah, today is the 12th. Go ahead.
On
Dave.
Veterans Day, November 11th.
And they don't know whether I'm a veteran or not.
No, it's just what it is on the calendar. We stopped mattering a long time ago.
Welcome to DTE Energy. Please listen carefully as our menu options have recently changed.
Oh, I bet
You
they
have
do.
reached DTE Energy after our normal business hours of 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday and 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Saturday. If you are calling to report a gas leak, press 1-1. To report an electric problem, press 1-2. For billing and payment matters,
So this
press
is 1-2,
1-3.
right?
To use our automated payment system.
I think that's what we did last time.
Electric problem.
Right.
You can say report an outage or press 1, get an outage update or press 2, down
Get an
wire or
outage
press 3.
update.
Is the electrical problem at 110 Huntley Drive, Wall Lake, Michigan? Say yes or press 1. If that's not the right address, say no or press 2.
No.
Please press or say the 10-digit phone number or the 12-digit account number for the service location you're calling about. To hear these directions again, say repeat.
910-246-84326.
For security, please confirm that the street number of the service address you're calling about is say yes or press 1. If that's not the right address.
Yes.
I never
One moment while your information is retrieved.
because it confuses the
Please
phone.
be assured we are working as quickly as possible to address this issue. However, DTE Energy does not provide estimates for this type of power problem because it requires more analysis before it can be resolved. The cause of the power problem is under investigation. Please remember to unplug all sensitive equipment, such as appliances and computers, until this problem is corrected. To hear this again, say repeat or press the star key. To speak with a customer representative, say representative or press
They're not
0.
going to be able to tell you anything.
Ending the call. That's what I needed to know. And this is Saturday morning. It's 7:15 in the morning. I'm finishing this call. And this is the day after yesterday, which was confirmed twice on
We're having
recorded
some
calls.
technical problems. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. Please hold while I connect you to a customer representative.
I'm not going to be talking to anybody right now.
That's going to know anything at this.
This is November 12th, 2017 at 4:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am calling right now again the it's a
the number to call for customer service and power outage, and 800 477 4747 DTE. I don't want the automated line. I want to talk to a person.
Welcome to DTE Energy. Residential customers, press 1. Business
Pressing
customers,
1.
press 2. Main menu. You can say or press your response at any time. You can say gas leak or press 1. Electric problem or press 2.
Electric
Billing
problem.
and payments. Electric problem menu. You can say report an outage or press 1. Get an outage update or press 2. Downed wire or press 3. Dim or flickering lights or press
Get an
4.
update.
Is the electrical problem at 110 Huntley Drive, Wall Lake, Michigan? Say yes or press 1. If that's not the right address, say no or press 2.
No.
Please press or say the 10-digit phone number or the 12-digit account number for the service location you're calling about. To hear these directions again, say repeat or press the star key.
I'm going to press the 91002468432 is the account number.
For security, please confirm that the street number of the service address you're calling about is... Say yes or press 1. If that's not the right address, say no or press 2.
This is yes, so I'm pressing 1.
One moment while your information is retrieved. Please be assured we are working as quickly as possible to address this issue. However, DTE Energy does not provide estimates for this type of power problem because it requires more analysis before it can be resolved. The cause of the power problem is under investigation. Please remember to unplug all sensitive equipment, such as appliances and computers, until this problem is corrected. One moment while your call is transferred to a customer representative. To help us improve your customer experience, you may receive a call to participate in a survey regarding the customer service representative that assisted you. Your call may be recorded for quality assurance.
Thank you for calling DTE Energy. This is Crystal speaking. I may assist you.
Hi, Crystal. Yes, my name's David Scheid. And could you tell me where you're located? Are you in Detroit?
I am.
Okay.
How can I assist you?
Well, yes. I was told on Friday that I was going to have my power on. And I was told that twice, one time in the morning and one time in the afternoon. And I still don't have power on. And when I called on Saturday and got the automated line, it basically said it was still under investigation or something like that. But, I have, there's been a, somebody from your offices has literally cut the lines after I gave access to change the meters, and they changed the meters and cut the line. In a malicious in a malicious action, and instead of just changing the meters and leaving me in peace, they deliberately cut the lines. And I was told on Friday night that they were working. The woman that answered the phone said they were working on the pole, and it was still going to be turned on Friday night. And of course, that's all erroneous information, and I don't have anything to go on, and I'm getting sick. I'm over 60. and I have no running water because I have a septic pump that pumps water from the ground, and I'm on a very limited income, and all the money that I was saving to pay the energy bill is now having to go towards food at restaurants and paying to have neighbors give me a shower and things like this that are very costly and are now impacting my entire life. And I'd like to know when my power is going to get back on and why the malicious cutting of my power.
Okay, so I can take a look and see what's going on with your order. May I have your address, please?
Yes, I've already plugged it into the system and had it confirmed.
Unfortunately, when you go through the automated system, that information does not transfer over when you speak with a representative, so I have no information.
Okay, it is West 12 Mile Road, and that's in the city of Novi, Novi, Michigan, 48377.
Can you confirm the last 4 digits of your Social Security number, please, Mr. Scheid?
I'm sorry?
Can you confirm the last 4 digits of your Social Security number, please?
I don't use my Social Security number for identification purposes. That was the agreement with the Social Security office back in the 60s when I got the original card, but I will give you an account number that I already plugged into the system.
Okay, what is the DTE Energy account number?
It is 91002468432-6.
And what's the best contact number?
Well, I'd like to get my question answered before I get all this other, before I give more
but to be able to provide this information to you, I have to verify that I am speaking to the correct individual. So
okay, well, I'll be happy to verify. You give me the contact number you have for me, and I'll verify it.
Unfortunately, we don't provide the telephone number to the customer. The customer has to provide that to the representative.
Well, right now my power's turned out, and I don't have any reliable numbers that are verifiable at this moment because my entire life is affected, and I don't have any contact numbers. I'm homeless at the moment. I have to go from place to place, and I am living in an emergency and under duress for the last 5 days. Now I can
take a look and see what's going on with this order. Is it okay if I place you on a brief 3 to 5 minute hold, please?
3 to 5 minute hold.
Yes.
I'm under duress, and so if I say no, I will probably be placed on hold anyway, or you will just leave me hanging, or not give me any service. So I am under duress and force to do whatever it is that you say and that DTE says as a collective.
Okay. I do need to place you on a brief hold here so I can look into this issue for you, please. Okay, I thank you for your patience in holding. And looking at this order, from what it looks like, although the order was put in for the 10th, the process with a pole restore is it's up to the end of the second business day. And unfortunately, our crews do not work on the weekends. They don't work Saturday and Sunday with this type of order. And also, it is a weather permitting order. So I cannot see what our Monday's orders are just yet. So what you will have to do is you will have to contact our customer service department in the morning. They open between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. and somebody can take a look and see if your order is on the schedule for tomorrow.
So, if I'm to repeat what I just heard from you, is that you said that there is a 2-day order, and it was ordered on Friday?
So the order was placed in on Friday, so it was placed in on the 10th. So if you were misadvised, I do apologize. So with this type of order, it can take up to 2 business days. So that would put you between either Monday or Tuesday for the restore, and that is weather permitting. So if there's bad weather, it will delay the order because our crews don't work in the rain.
And so I have, and you are also confirming that the meters were changed on what? Can you tell me what day was the meters changed?
It looks like that was completed on Friday.
The meters were changed on Friday?
That's what I'm showing the completion date is.
What, of the completion date of the meter change?
Yes.
And at that time that they cut the wires?
Yes.
On Friday they cut the wires. Can you tell me why, when I've given them access to change the meter, would they maliciously cut the wires to cause me these number of days of further torture?
Unfortunately, I don't have that information. So again, you will want to contact our customer service department tomorrow between 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. to see if your order is on the schedule for tomorrow.
Do I call this same number?
Yes, you'll call the same number, 1-800-477-4747.
Okay, and you are Crystal in Detroit. Is there an employee number that I can get for you?
I'm the only Crystal in here. I don't provide my ID number.
Is there only one here in Detroit?
Yes.
There's only one DTE that's called here in Detroit. Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for calling DTE Energy. Have a good night.
End of call, 4:23 p.m. They just confirmed that they maliciously cut the wires on Friday at the same time that they replaced the meters.